Hello everybody. Well, it is August 1st, and so I'm making this video because this was all part of my massive plan. So what the heck's been going on with Blue? Well, for the last few months I have been devoting time into rebuilding me. I've been going through a lot of stuff lately, and I needed to kind of walk away from everything. So I am sorry that I have been making videos and all that, but I believe that this is time that has been well spent, and what you're going to be getting from this point on is going to be a heck of a lot better than what you were getting a few months ago. Why I had to take a break was simply I was overwhelmed. At work, I was working 12 and 16-hour shifts regularly, so there was not a lot of time for me to focus on what was important to me. I made sacrifices to take care of my guys. For those of you who do not know, I work in the direct support position. I take care of guys that have mental development issues. So I have dealt with people that are considered, in the old rude terms, mentally retarded or mentally disabled. So their needs came first because, my job was to make sure that they were doing good, that they had all their needs, that they were healthy and happy. So I had a massive lack of sleep. I mean, just a month ago, I had a day where I worked a 12-hour shift, had 8 hours off, and then worked a 16-hour shift. Okay, that 8 hours in between, you maybe got 4 hours of sleep at the most, and, I had to keep on going. And that just took a lot out of me. I have family issues I have to take care of. My mom is restricted to a wheelchair now, and my dad a few years ago had strokes, and that has affected his ability to use his right arm. And so I do a lot to take care of my mom and dad. Of course, they're a priority to me. So I got all these priorities that were taken away from me, and what I had left over for my things were just not there. So I was feeling very disconnected with my spiritual, magical self, and I had to walk away from it because it just didn't feel right. In my videos, I like to tell people to be creative, build, try to express yourself in some manner. Well, because I was forcing that on myself, man, it just wasn't feeling right, and I had quit for a while. So I had to remind myself, for a person to help others, they have to be in a position to help. For us to grow as individuals, we have to be in a position to grow. I was not in that position, and so I had to stop and reevaluate my life and figure out what's going on, what I can do to be a better person. So I decided to take these 2 months off from doing videos and trying to focus on just a lot of smaller projects and big projects to rebuild myself, to find a way to enjoy myself and grow. And that's what I have done. Excuse me. But also trying to drink more tea instead of Pepsi because it's a bit healthier. So, what I have been doing is I have been rebuilding my role-playing world. Many years ago, I was an avid role player, and I stopped because I was trying to focus on other things. And I'm in a relationship with Cindy, and which has been going on for almost 12 years now. So yes, I'm doing good actually. So I've been doing some role playing. Well, I've been building my role playing world. And why role playing? Because it was something that I had done for many years ago, and it was relaxing, it was educational, it was a great way to work off some stress, and I learned a lot from role playing back then. So remembering all that, I decided that I was part of my clean slate that I was working on and rebuilding of myself, that I would start rebuilding all of my role playing. And it has paid off. Yes, I have devoted many hours to it, but it got me out of my rut. I am now starting to look at things in a more realistic, positive, creative manner. Now, I know in role play that a lot of things can never come true, but you see, role playing, I can build things and I can build structures, and so I can build the starting block, the foundation, and build up and more, and thus I feel more complete. I have that creative vibe again, and I'm happier. So, one of the things I had to work out with my role playing is that good and evil is kind of cockeyed. Good and evil is all about perspective, and in role playing, there are professions that are automatically considered evil. And so I got rid of that concept because it's about intent. That's one of the major fundamentals in witchcraft, is know your intent before you do your spell work. Because it's not the spell work that matters, it's our intent that matters. And so by getting rid of the concept of good and evil perfections, I've opened up the world for more possibilities. Because somebody, good and evil, okay? You can be a good person and do some nasty stuff, but if you're doing that nasty stuff to people that are harming others, you are protecting others, and thus that's a good thing. So like I said, it's all about perspective, and you have to get rid of some of the stereotypes that are out in the pagan witchcraft worlds. Sorry, I got my notes right here, so I'm just trying to make sure I hit everything. Many years ago, when I actually started working on role playing, that is when I learned a lot about magic, and because there are so many magic professions and there are many concepts of magic. The gaming system that I'm working with is called Rollmaster. This is a very highly skilled. This was created by people in South Carolina, if I remember right. Anyway, some of the people had used actual magic concepts. They didn't just pull crap out of their ass. And so when they put those concepts into the role-playing game, they added some realism to it. And I learned that, hey, this actually is real. And so I learned a lot about magic. And so I want to go back to role-playing so that I can learn more, I can input more about real magic into the game, and again, that creates the foundation so I can make more. I can become a better witch, better pagan, by playing role-playing games. And you can too. So You can do it as well. But you need to make sure that you find a realistic tabletop role-playing game, which is what Rolemaster is. It's kind of like Pathfinder and D&D, but Rolemaster uses a lot more skills, and that's something to remember, because witchcraft is a collection of skills and lore that uses energy to change the world around us. Okay? So you have to develop skills. And this is why I love Rolemaster so much, because I think a lot of people out there in the pagan witch communities just think that, hey, I can say this and I can do anything. No, you can't. Sometimes you have to start small and work your way up. And if you don't, you're going to fail. Okay? So, that's why I think Rolemaster is almost like requirement if you want to be a good witch or pagan. Okay. Now, in the system that I'm working, I am recreating an alternative Earth, which means that I am using the general geography of planet Earth, made some alterations to it, and altered the timeline in key spots, removing things that I don't like and adding things that I want into my perfect world that I want to live in. So, what are the changes? Well, here's the map. There you go. As you can tell, Saudi Arabia is gone. Okay? I don't like deserts, and so by removing Saudi Arabia, I can say that there is now a warm water current that goes along the African coast right next to the Nile, which brings in more moisture. And since more moisture can come in, the Sahara Desert does not become this monster that what it is today. As you can see in the map, it's very, very small. And Egypt is actually a more pleasant place to live because they have more moisture. They're not completely dependent on the Nile, which alters their history a little bit and it could make things a lot more interesting. You can see that I have connected Ireland with the British Isles, with Scotland and the British Isles. Again, just subtle changes here and there. The big changes are there is no Christian. The Abrahamic religions do not develop. There is going to be a few Jewish tribes here and there, but the Abrahamic religions, other than that, do not exist. So I do not have Jesus Christ in here, or the Christians and the Muslims causing all the problems because they don't exist. So my world has a stronger pagan vibe to it, and thus I can take various pagan belief systems and develop them larger and thus honor many, many religions in many ways, but mostly I can thus build my Celtic Norse belief system better, because then I can do research on any of the many gods and goddesses and put them into my world. And I think that is a great thing to do. Another thing, this is early Iron Age time period, and there's no gunpowder. So it's a high magic swords type of game, which is a lot of fun to me. So building everything. Now this is the part that I love. This is why this is so important to me. Because I have to build the structure for everything, I get to add massive details to everything. One of the things I've noticed, on my journey is that on YouTube there's a lot of people that claim to be a water witch, a sea witch, or whatever witch. And that when asked why, it's, well, I have an affinity with working with water. Okay, and I have an affinity with working with water. All right. You see, there are so many general vague concepts that people have kind of not distorted, but watered down witchcraft, because they're just going, well, I'm a witch and I do this. Well, I'm a witch and I do that. I'm a witch and I do this. And everybody wants to take their own concept and say that this is a witch. Okay. And because I have to build the structure, I get to add all this detail. I have a fascination with working with bourbon. I love bourbon. I love Ancient Age, 10 High, Southern Comfort. I like to drink bourbon. Okay? So, by their standards, I should say that I am Blue, the bourbon brewer. And you know, I have thought about making a channel that named that. But I'm not going to. But you see, I think that we have to get rid of some of this vagueness. And so I have over 85 professions total in my role-playing game. Roughly 50 of those are magic users. And so I get to develop their structure. What I mean by that is we use development points. So if a skill costs a certain amount, well then you have to use that many development points to get it. So you can tailor what a particular magic user does by changing the cost for certain skills. Some professions, might be very good at making runes and sigils, whereas another one is more of a directed spells specialist. So, you lower one skill cost, but you increase another one. And so in the end, you get to say, this is what makes a rune master a rune master. This is what makes a necromancer a necromancer. Not this vague crap. Okay? So, like I said, there are many, many professions here that I have created. And there are some that are of special interest for me in my spiritual, magical world as well. First one is the Erectomancer. Erectomancer is somebody that works with spider magic. And why? Because I'm trying to develop spider magics. Spiders send fear. And people, they see a spider and they freak out. Okay, so there's some magic there. There's energies there. But we also hear the expression, man, I'd like to be a fly on the wall when this happens. Why the heck not a spider? Why not have a spider spy, so to say? And so this idea is a profession that somebody can not only change into a spider, which I know will never happen, but also can use spiders from around him as servants, as minions, to gather information and even attack somebody. Because there are poisonous spiders in most of the world. So, like from where I live, if I was needing to get at somebody, maybe send over a brown recluse spider into their bedroom and take care of them. Okay. Then there's an Archmage. Now, an Archmage works with energies. They are about finding and pulling in energies with their magics. They work with ley lines and earth notes. I believe this is very important because I don't believe in the concept that magic energy, witchcraft energies are the same throughout the world. I believe that there are voids and that there are these earth nodes that have extra energy, and you have to find them to connect to the energy to do good magic. It's like trying to boil a pot of water with a candle. It's not going to be done because the candle's a little flame. You need something bigger, right? Okay. Find an earth node, you get together the energy, and you send it out. Chaotic Lord. Now, this is one of those professions that is usually considered evil, but it's about fighting back. And darkness is not evil. Darkness is just a form of magic, of energy, and thus using it in the right ways is a good thing. So there we go, learning how to fight back. The cleric is the reminder of the responsibilities as a minister and how to be a better minister, a better leader. It can be used to develop a coven, a community. And since I am an ordained minister, this was important to me, and so I am going to use this profession in the role-playing world to remind myself and kind of think about how I can be a better minister. All right. Crystal Mage. Now this one is going to be very interesting. A Crystal Mage in this game system is somebody that uses crystals and crystalline structures to store spells. And this is how they, interact with the world. So I'm going to be using this profession to learn more about various stones and crystals. There will be bonuses involved. The one that I was wanting to use as an example is a love spell. So, you have a crystal mage that has been asked to put a love spell into a crystal to give to a person's object of affection. So you want to use the right stone. Now, you don't want to use like onyx as an example, or jet, for a love spell, because that's a black stone and it has other energies to it. You would want to use a proper stone, like maybe a rose quartz. So there you go. You learn more about the minerals and their attributes. And because you used a rose quartz for a love spell, you get a plus 10 in results, and that would be kind of a reflection of real life. Okay. Next profession is the Druid, which is somebody that uses the environment around them and understands the environment around him to defend it and himself. In this game, a druid is like a militant animist because they are using nature as a weapon and defense. Next up is the healer. This is about building a better healing skills. Now, one of my premises in life is to make this world a better world. And you got to help people out. And so sometimes you have to heal people. And we also hear it all the time in all these groups and all that. Could you send healing energy out to my blankety blank blank blank? Well, we need to have the skills to go and say, okay, here you go. Alright. The illusionist. This is hiding magic. You want to create illusions or to protect yourself, maybe to see if you can escape somebody that's bothering you or bothering other people. So I like the idea of an illusionist. Now, this does have real-world applications, believe it or not. Many years ago, Cindy and I, we were set up for Halloween. We had lights on the front porch and all that. I had like 6 sets of lights on that front porch plus the porch light on and all that. So you obviously see this. But we only had 2 or 3 people stop by. And that is because the rest of the year we always try to keep out of people's view. You know, want them to move on. We used fox magic on how to hide. Well, we never dispelled the fox magic for Halloween, and so people were walking by and not seeing us. Okay? That's an illusion. That is a form of defensive magic. Okay? Then there's the Mage Hunter. Now, the Mage Hunter is somebody that uses magic to go after a certain form of magician or all other magicians. Okay, and you might think, oh, that's a bad thing to study if you are a pagan/witch. And actually, it's a good thing to study because this is used for attacking people that are attacking you and defensive magics. Okay? Unfortunately, there are witch wars out there. Unfortunately, there are people that want to start fights. And so you have no choice but to learn how to fight back. And so I think having a Mage Hunter profession and developing those skills and magics are needed. The Magus, or Word Mage. As I play this character, I will be developing these real-world skills. As I said, I work with people with mental disabilities, and sometimes they get stressed out. Well, in this game, they have like a spell called Calming Spirits, in which this is a low-level spell, and somebody would just be going calm. And, you know, sending out calming energy, hopefully to calm everybody down, and so that people become more rational and interact, and we can resolve the situation. Okay? And you can take any power word, because remember, words are energy. Words can be magic. And so if you have a profession like the Magus, developing various skills, and you can transfer those in ways to the real world, you become a better, more powerful witch. Now, the next profession is what they call Maleficent, you know, like the movie, you know, from Disney, or the voodoo priest. Now, this is a separate profession out of respect, because, you know, a lot of the voodoo, hoodoo, and that is connected to the Caribbean area. And, you know, I do try to watch what I do to be respectful for other cultures. But this is a profession that works with talismans, amulets, and curses, which is forms of low magic that I want to use. And so I have this profession, the voodoo priest, that is going to help me develop and build structure to these concepts. Okay, so I can take, like my book, The Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard by Oberon Zell. And I could take concepts from that to add to my voodoo priest and how to make talismans. Okay, there is the application. And that's what I want to do. Now comes to the probably the very touchy professions, witches and warlocks. Now, if you are well versed in Wicca, a warlock in some of these traditions is somebody that is considered an oath breaker. In Hollywood, a warlock is a male witch. Yeah, I know. For me, in my game, because there is so many forms of low magic and skills and spells pertaining to low magic, I needed to create 2 professions. So I have the witch and the warlock. Why? Because they are basically the same in so many ways, but the witch is more of your right-handed magic user, and your warlock is your left-handed magic user. So a warlock is going to use a few more hexes, nightmare spells, and summoning entities. And whereas your witch is going to be the more home, more positive-oriented spells. And again, this is all about removing the stereotypes of good versus evil, but this is important to me. And so I decided to make 2 professions of it so that I can represent people that have the need to be a little bit on the left side compared to the right side. Now, the next profession is also pretty interesting, and that's the Moon Mage. Now, I, being Celtic, of course, I have to respect Argonauts, the Moon Mages, okay? But this is all about using the energies associated with moon, such as emotional and change, metamorphosis, because the moon, as we know, changes. Now, I think there is a lot of magic involved here. Now, in this game that I played, their version, you pick one of the 3 phases of the moon, and that's your thing. You're either light, middle, or darkness. I believe that we can embrace all aspects of the moon, all four aspects of the moon, and we need to have magics that represent all 4 phases. Okay? Next is the Paladin. Yeah. Now, I like the idea of the Paladin in a pagan-based world because the Paladin is not a Christian, while it's heavily in history a Christian construct, but Paladin is somebody that fights for and defends their beliefs. So you could have a Norse Paladin. In my first role-playing group that I'm creating, I actually do have a Norse Paladin who is going to defend his area against people that are attacking pagan the Norse temples in there. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. And also because a Paladin also uses spells related to the gods that they are defending. So you could have a Paladin that has a few more healing spells to their repertoire, or somebody that is more, well, take any aspect of magic or god or goddess, and there you go. So you can have very distinct, flavorful Paladins out there. Also, because I'm building these groups and all that, I am hopefully going to be able to develop a code of ethics, a brotherhood of paladins, of pagan paladins, for real life applications. Because we can't all be priests and priestesses now, can we? Next we have the Rune Master. Now this one I'm taking a lot of interest in very much because I'm trying to work with rune sigils. I am making oracle decks and such, so all this is very important to me. And so the Rune Master is going to be helping me develop my sigil skills. I am going to thus be doing a lot more research in how everybody makes their sigils, their runes, and applying it in the game and in the real world. And so I think that is awesome. Another controversial profession is the shaman. What makes it controversial is, again, there is a lot of vagueness with what a shaman is and what a shaman does. There are no solitary shamans out there. A shaman works for the tribe, for the community. And so your shaman goes and enters a trance, does a vision quest, a spiritual quest, to find answers to help the tribe. Okay, so if you are into the community and not just your own self-centered butt, the shaman might be a good profession. So a shaman works in trances and goes on these spiritual guides. They do some medicine. They do a little of this, a little of that, because they are all about the tribe. The tribe is only strong as the shaman is only strong as the tribe. So you have to build both up. And so I will be creating a shaman character in the near future so that I can develop more of the traits of a shaman in the game and in the real world. Now, the next one profession is the tarot mage, which is pretty self-evident. Now, this is a profession there that the spellcaster uses the tarot deck for magics. They can pull out a specific card, and whatever that card represents is transferred. The essence of that energy is transferred to the target of the spell. These can be positive and negative aspects as well. They have the weapons based on your 4 symbols of your tarot deck. So that could be a very interesting profession. I've used it before, I do like it. But it will help me learn or be even better versed in using the tarot deck. And if you're very creative, you can actually take the same profession and use an oracle deck on it. I would highly suggest you can do that, have it be a big oracle deck, something with over 40 cards, because like my small little oracle deck that I made, it's only like 10 cards. And you won't be able to do much with that. Final profession is the wizard. Now, in this game, the wizard is somebody that manipulates spell work, energies, and how powerful spell is. This is somebody that can build a spell web, meaning that they can connect 3 or 4 people magically, and then those people can work together on a single spell and have massive effects and results on everything. And I like that idea. I did a video probably over a year ago about how to create a spell web. And so this profession is going to help in making magics more effective. And I think that's a great thing. So I'm going to be creating a lot of things, for my role-playing game. And then converting some of these into a real-world aspect. One of the things I'm going to be doing is creating NPCs out of real-life people. Basically, I'm going to reduce some of these character sheets because there's some information you can't just know. And basically, I'm going to create a character for the game. Now remember, this will be creating an energy, an image, a visualization, which is magic. And so I can, in theory, create kind of a low-power, low-level avatar of a person using this concept and applying various desires on it. This can be used positively and or negatively, whatever the case may be. I'm trying to use them positive. So, why would I do this? One of the things that I'm going to be creating is the hospital. Now, this is going to be a binder that I got already selected over here. And what I'm going to be doing is building a visualization of a hospital with a couple of different rooms and, wards, because somebody might just need a little energy because they are pregnant. Somebody might be fighting cancer. Somebody might have been in a car wreck. So we need to have different wards in a hospital, which makes sense, right? So if I create this binder, aka representation of a hospital, and I see a person say, "Hey, can we send some healing energy to my blank blank?" I could then, try to get as much information as I can, make a little character sheet, and put it in the binder hospital and send energy that way. I am visualizing that person getting energy, which I think would increase the results. And with this, I gotta also say my biggest complaint that I have about healing energy. Too many times there are people out there who says, "Hey, can you send healing energies to my cousin's neighbor's girlfriend's brother because he fell off a motorcycle," and that's all the information they get to me. If you want healing energy, give us more information, because we can't just go, "All right," we need to have a destination. We honestly do. Okay, this is how we develop intent. We have to have a location. So if this person is named Bob, tell us his name. "Hey, where's Bob from?" "Oh, he's in Boston." "Awesome. What hospital is he in?" "Okay, Boston General, Boston." "Okay, for Bob." Got it. Write it, put it in the binder, and we can work on long-term sending healing energy to help Bob out. All right. Another thing that I'm making is a coven. Now, why would I be doing this? And that is because eventually I would like to create a coven, be a part of a coven. I've been to a part of a couple for short periods of time. And so the whole idea is to create a coven with a whole bunch of NPCs. I got what they call encounter sheets, where you roll dice and see what happens. And you try to construct your coven so that it can withstand all these variables and just make it a stronger. And you get to create your curriculum for the coven and things like that. And thus, once you're confident with what you've created in your role-playing game, you can then try to convert it into a real-life coven. And I think that would be awesome. The other thing that I'm making is an academy. I'll explain that as well, because I want people to learn. Okay, I think there are some people that go into the pagan witchcraft communities for shock and awe, and not really to learn. They're not there for the good reasons. And so the idea of an academy to kind of, weed out some of the people that are just there and say, "Hey, look at me," and all that, I think is a good thing. All right, one of my favorite NPCs, non-player characters, is called the Stupid Slayer. Now, this is one of my more negative, but I need this. This is about relieving stress. The Stupid Slayer is somebody that has this massive, powerful, magical weapon that, is going to break bones and all that in the game, and then everything gets healed except for one point after every turn, so that the Stupid Slayer can, come up with different creative ways to torture this person, because, the Stupid Slayer is meant to, as the name said, just go after stupid people that bothered you and all that. And so let's just say that there is somebody like Tia Edwards who's going to do something very stupid. Well, I can then do some dice rolls, create the Tia Edwards profession, and then boom, 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 I get the Super Slayer, beat on her for an hour, get out some stress and move on. Okay? Now, I am working on building spell cards. I actually came up with a good idea to do it. I had a little problem with my printer printing two sides on the same card. It can do one side, but when you get the ink on there, it's so darn smooth that the other side would not load. So I had to become creative. So I take two cards. I print on one side on each card, your front, your back, and then I put the two cards together using a simple organic glue. But in between the two cards, I'm going to put a brand new penny. A penny is specific, okay? Our modern pennies here in the United States are mostly zinc. Now, zinc is actually used in some batteries, and so it is a good thing to have to store energy. Copper is a great way to move energies from one place to another. So if you have the outer side of this coin being a copper, it can easily send energy into your zinc. Okay. So there is your battery for your card. You can then put whatever spell, incantation, rune, sigil, whatever it is, however you want to put it onto this card, and thus you have a spell card. Okay? And so then you can activate your cards and use them, cleanse them, and then you can reuse them again. That's the whole intent. So you can create a bunch of spell cards, and I got plans to do that. Storing spell cards. Now, if you have one of those coupon organizers, you've got exactly what you need to store spell cards, because each one usually has plastic separating them. Okay, plastic is an insulator, so then you won't have energy from a love spell blending in with vengeance spell, and so you keep your cards clean so that you can use them. Okay. The next massive project that I'm working on is my Grimoire. Now with Rolemaster there are hundreds of spell lists. On each spell list there is 24 spells, sometimes more. And so we are talking, I have probably close to, I'd say 5,000 different spells through my game system. Plus, I have other games that have some unique spells as well. I also, for pop culture references, I have Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I am going to go through all of my pop culture references and all their spells that they have that can have possible real-world applications. I'm going to convert to the real world, or to work in the real life. And so I am going to have a very thick 4-inch binder of just spells. And the benefit of this, some of this is going to be meant for day-to-day usage. I mean, we need to incorporate magic into our daily life, and this is a great way to do it. So I am going to be creating a lot of spells, and I will be making videos on that. I have worked on an Oracle deck. This one is a unique design, and I've already copyrighted it, so this is a deck of 36 cards. 35 of them represent different aspects of life, conflict, change, and then one of them is your self card. So what you do is you shuffle these cards up, you think of your question, or you think about how you want your life question to be, and you deal out all the cards in a 6x6 grid. Okay. Find your self card. The cards around it are the cards that you use for your divination. So if it's in the middle, okay, you have 8 cards to choose from, to work with. You might get a corner, and you'd only have 3. A side, you would have 5 cards to work with. And so I think this would be a great way to do divination. So that is one project that I've gotten done recently. The next thing is I'm going to be using role-playing coins for my spell work. Mother Nature does not have a concept of money. It doesn't, okay? It does not understand money because money is a man-made thing. Nature will understand exchange of services, bartering, but they do not understand money. I have looked online. You can buy these at Walmart, Amazon. You can even find them in specialized stores. Role-playing coins that have themes on it. Now, I have ordered 2 sets of coins. Both of these sets are metal. They have bronze metal finish, and they represent medieval creatures, monsters. There are 4 coins that are dragons, so of course you know about. And so, because Mother Nature doesn't understand money, you can't just put a 50-cent coin on your altar and Mother Nature's going to go, okay, it's metal, it's got energy, thank you. They don't care if it's 50 cents. You can't go, well, this is an important coin, this is an important spell for me, I'm going to put 75 cents on this one. That spell last week, that wasn't important, that's why I only put a dime on it. Because these are metal coins, and I double checked, they're zinc with a bronze or brass finish on them. These will hold energy, and so I can cleanse them, energize them, use them for any spell. Okay, these act as batteries, as focuses of energy, so that I can do better on my spells. Okay? And so then I can reuse them as needed, and I think that would be a more effective way to use those items. Better defenses. Okay, because I told you I got the Mage Hunter, which uses attacks and defense in Magic. Well, I have also increased my defenses. I have added 2 or 3 more layers to Magic. My most distant protection is 10 miles away. I can't even tell you what they are because you don't know what they actually look like. Railroad spikes. I have cleaned them, smoothed them out with my Dremel, and I have put various runes and requests on them. And by the roads going into Guthrie, I have put them at the 10-mile mark away. Okay, so to come to my town to get to me, you got to go by the roads, and I already have a defense there to counter. Okay? Role-playing. They use golems and constructs. Okay? So, we talked about making servitors and making minions spiritually, and we can use clay and all that stuff to make this kind of stuff. Well, role-playing, because they have golems and constructs in them, they created a structured way to create them. I'm going to adapt that with real-world applications and try to mimic that to create a structure so that I can create better and more minions and servitors, or egregores. So I think that is absolutely important. Okay, using clay. Now this is something that I experimented with and I absolutely love. I know you probably can't read that. Okay, it's the Crayola air dry clay. Alright, this is a nice white clay, nice and clean. And I decided that I was going to make stands for some of my wands and various stones. And so, I have this right here. Gosh, I hope you guys can see that. Alright, this is my labradorite wand that I have. Okay. Now I wanted to I don't like the idea of just laying them on my altar. I wanted to give them, some prominence. I believe that is important. And so I took some of that clay and I made stands for them. And so now I can put my wand there and place this on my altar, and my wands stand out better. This also works really good because now I can take this whole stand and place it in my windowsill on full moons to cleanse and recharge my crystals. Okay? So that was something that I have been working on, and I actually feel like I've had some positive results. The crystals seem better charged and responding better. Because since I am able to interact with them more, better results. Alright, so what are my future plans here? Well, I got quite a few. I'm going to build a highly structured 3-tier program for beginners. We see so many times when we have beginners going, how do I start becoming a witch? And we try to help them the best we can. And so I am going to build an academy in my role-playing game, and I am going to be putting various levels of complexity, what's required to go from being a neophyte to a tier 1 witch. And so the whole idea is to create a curriculum and have that up and let people look at it and they can use it. Now, I'm not going to be teaching this curriculum, but I want to make it available so people have a guideline in how to start off as a witch. I am going to be developing another oracle deck. I love dragons, and so I am going to create an oracle deck where I'm using the various forms of dragons from mythology and from the role-playing game as points of focus in an oracle deck. Because, like this little buddy right here, this is my grumpy dragon. Yeah. And then, you got your various types of these. There's a fire dragon, forest dragon, ice dragon, and all. And so they have a personality each to their own. And so I believe that would represent an energy or a aspect very well, and that would make it very interesting for okay, as I say, my game here is going to be very pagan, witch oriented. Because I am going to be able to focus more on my pagan path by creating all the various gods into my game, I think I will develop and build a stronger path, which is important because, like I said, I got into a rut. I got disconnected with my path. And now that I can be putting these into my game, I will be able to put a little extra detail and flavor into my gods and goddesses that I honor, and other gods and goddesses as well, and thus be a better pagan, not just for myself, but to help others who may be having questions on their path. I want to continue my weight loss. If you look at some of my older videos, I was pretty chunky then. In the last 2 years, I have lost 85 pounds. Like I said, I drink more tea instead of pop. I eat a lot more watermelon and other fruits and veggies. And I am planning on losing more weight. I am actually back down to the weight I had when I graduated high school. So I'm very happy about that. Now, on YouTube, they have this concept called shorts. These are 60-second videos. They have to be at the vertical format. This is basically their response to TikTok. And so I am considering developing a sister channel to this channel of witchy shorts. to give little tidbits of information. Something that might not be worthy of a full-length video, but yet important for everybody to know. Another important thing of my rebirth, rebuild that I'm doing right now is I plan to be more positive. I want to look at the world in a better view, and so you can't do that by just thinking nasty all the time. Now you got to be realistic. Sometimes you have to deal with negativity. Sometimes you got to take what's put in front of you and deal with it to move on, to grow, to be stronger. And so I am going to still deal with the negativity when it comes up, but I'm going to try to look at the world in a more positive manner. One thing you guys ought to know is that I'm going to try to change the job. And so on Monday, I have a job interview for a new company. This company actually is in the town that I live in. And so if I get the job, I could walk to work. And that would be awesome. I do plan to make more videos. If I can, if I am able to change jobs, maybe I can get a cycle, a rhythm in my job, and thus I can develop a upload schedule for this channel, which would be great, I think, for everybody. And so that's it. That is my massive update here for Blue. I want to thank you all for taking time to watch the video. I think I discussed a lot of interesting things. I would love to talk more about it. But most importantly, I'm back and I'm going to be more active now. I hope everybody's doing good, and if you need a little positive messages, we all go through hardships, and the most important thing is to learn how to get back up. That's what makes us strong, and you can do it. So everybody, please take care. Peace.